Hi, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the IEEE India Council podcast. Today we have with us Mr. Abhishek Bhattacharya. Abhishek is a co-founder and head of blockchain tech at Brú Finance, India's only blockchain native fintech platform. He is a Forbes 30 under 30 honoree and a 3 times entrepreneur, author and a regular speaker of blockchain tech. At Brú, he is bringing blockchain to farmers to save their income, covering 1400 warehouses and 18,000 plus farmers and 300 million US dollars in committed TVL, and now connecting them to global DeFi lenders supported by United Nations Development Program, IIM Ahmedabad and Mass Challenge USA. He is also a blockchain educator and has taught 6,000 plus faculty, PhDs and students globally. He recently delivered talks at SmartCon 22 in New York, DevCon in Bogota, CNFTCon 22 in Vegas and CITC conference by Ministry of Communication and IT in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This is the first in-person podcast of this session. 𝐻𝐴 Institute of Technology, Kolkata is hosting this podcast in association with the IEEE 𝐻𝐴 Student Branch, IEEE India Council and IEEE Vaani. We are immensely grateful to the organizers for this extremely beneficial opportunity. 𝐷𝐪𝐺 Mukherjee, Chair, IEEE Electron Devices MSIT Student Branch Chapter and Section Representative IEEE Kolkata Section, is in this podcast session with Mr. Bhattacharya. We will now proceed with the session. Thank you.
So, very good afternoon. With your permission, we'll start the podcast right now.
Sure.
Okay. So, what was your childhood like? Where were you born? And from the beginning only, did you think of coming into business?
Alright, so I was born in Kolkata, but did not, wasn't brought up here in this city. My father had a transferable job, so I have traveled to multiple cities. And of course, not at a very early age that I thought that I'll be becoming an entrepreneur or getting into business side of things. But during my high school years, 11th, 12th, at that time it started coming in because already, there was a lot of things happening in and around startups at that time in India and everywhere else. And that's the first time where I came to the conclusion that, okay, this is something I would want to try. So a combination of computer science and entrepreneurship was always on my mind since about late years of my school. And that's what I continued during my college and beyond as well.
So my next question would be, what was your school name and college name? And did your alma mater help in starting with the business?
Sure. So again, because of multiple cities, there were multiple brand names with which I studied. Latest was DAV Public School. So I'm a Davian and in my last years of school. Subsequent to that, I was at Amity, Noida. As you've asked, yes. My first startup was when I was 19 and in my second, third year of college at Amity. And there was tremendous support from my university at that time. Without them, I'm not sure how much I would have been able to carry out all those entrepreneurial activities during my third year, because you have classes, you need support from your teachers, you need a lot of support, you have to be present at two places at some times, and you cannot really manage that without their support. So university is definitely important, and I believe that nowadays when everything about startup is so much happening here in India, so I believe this landscape would have changed furthermore nowadays across colleges because teachers understand startups more. At that time they did not a lot, but still there was a lot of support that came from Amity.
So was there any particular professor would you like to recall, and where was he the inspiration, or was he the inspiration for you?
Right, so no, I did not have anyone specific who was an inspiration for entrepreneurship, but then again, the teachers that I work with, I was directly acquainted with at that time. So I was already involved in a lot of extracurricular activities in college, so that helped me build a lot of rapport with a lot of teachers of computer science department. And the best part is that almost 90-95% of them I still am in touch over WhatsApp. I have even beyond my college worked with them on some papers, some conferences, books, etc. My next book is just coming up with the same faculty, a couple of faculties who used to teach me back then in 2013, 14, 15, right? So no specific names, but yes, starting from the head of department, because he was also very keen on his students coming up with startup ideas and becoming entrepreneurs. Starting from that, from him, all towards all the faculty that used to teach us directly, all of them I would like to thank.
I'd also like to ask you that if there's anything you'd like to change about the path you have chosen, what it would be?
Oh, nothing actually. To be honest, because if I go back and see as I said, in my high school, class 11 or 12, the way I thought that okay, these two elements I would be combining, as I said, it was always our love for technology and then gradually a love for entrepreneurship as well. Both of them, I honestly believe that even till today, I am. See, I'm working, even in this is my third startup that I'm doing. I'm sure we'll be talking more about that later. So here I'm combining again, this is a startup that I'm doing, again a dream of mine, and I'm using blockchain technology. See, combination of computer science and startups and entrepreneurship. Same for my previous startup, same for my first startup. So everything that I've done has been not exactly what I could think in my class 11, 12, no one can do that, but at least the domain, the genre, the industry has still been the same. And I'm really honestly very happy with how it has turned out to be, and I would love to continue it this way in the same domain.
So you would say that the path was rough, is it? At the
Rough
beginning?
is always, yes. I mean, not just beginning. I can say even the path was rough till yesterday and it'll be till tomorrow, right? That's about entrepreneurship. It's not like a job where you get, so I had a job sometime back as well, right? My larger part of career was entrepreneurship, but in between I've done jobs as well. Very easy going days those are, right? You get a salary at the end of the month, 30th or 31st, you get a salary in your account. There are a lot of people to do a single task at those companies, right? Big companies. In a startup, things are completely different. Sometimes you face money crunch, and at that time you just are not able to pay yourself. You're not able to pay maybe 10 or 20 of your employees, which is a huge headache, right? So definitely it has been rough, and it will always continue to be that way. Even startups which are funded right now, they have different kind of rough patches, right? So that's what startups are like.
Now my next question would be, Bengalis are mostly very stereotypical, and they think that a settled job, a government job, at the end of the day, a full packed salary is what we all like. So were your parents supporting you in the beginning, or are they supporting you even now?
Yes, that has been my biggest support. So from the first startup that I did while I was 19 in my college, of course I didn't have money. So whom did I go to money for? To my father, right? And then again in my second startup, I had some savings. I used all of it in my startup. Third one, we are again bootstrapped here. So now though we have gotten a lot of money and grants from outside and good names as well, but still it was originally bootstrapped. So every time money is a huge factor. And my parents have not only been supportive to me from that perspective of giving the money as I needed, when I needed for the first time, and also they never said that let's not do this. I mean, why to go for this kind of a role? Why not just take a job from your university, go to your placement, just sit for them, get a job at one of the MNCs which hire at Amity or anywhere else, right? So never they said this. Even when I was doing this particular startup, they still supported. They said, okay, do you feel this is the idea that you want to carry out? You have our support. We know that you'll make it work. Please go ahead. Huge support.
So we can clearly say that your father was your first investor. Is it?
Yeah, he's always, right? Yeah, he has to be, right? So
now I'd like to ask you, like, what was your first startup? Like, what was the name and what was the work you were doing then?
Right, so the first startup was a media company. We started a media website where the purpose was for people to consume news very easily, very seamlessly, and also we ventured into many more such genres of media. We grew to a team of 37 members, and while we ourselves were both, we were two co-founders, so we both were still in college and we had 37-member team, so it definitely became difficult to carry it out for about a year. We also raised a bit of funding for about $15,000 within 2 months of operation. Things were going well. Gradually we shut it down around in our 4th year, just at the beginning of our 4th year of college. But yeah, it was a good experience of that 1 year, working with a lot of people, managing two sides, the college and the business as well. So that's what our first startup was.
So this is your third venture?
Yes.
Brú Finance?
Brú Finance, yes.
So what exactly is Brú Finance?
Right. So Brú Finance is a platform for emerging market asset-backed bonds, and these bonds are represented by real-world assets. Now, what kind of assets? These are crops that farmers harvest and then store in a physical warehouse, in a government or a private warehouse. And then these crops, these agricultural crops can be anything, you name it, rice, soybean, corn, anything, right? Any non-perishable crop. That's tokenized on the blockchain, so it's represented as a token on the blockchain. And what is that token? It's NFT. I'm pretty sure many of you must have heard about NFTs by now. So those crops are represented as NFTs, and then banks or DeFi lenders, right? So DeFi is decentralized finance. I'll give a nutshell about DeFi. So decentralized finance is the same financial tools which you've been using from your banks, savings accounts, then other investment products, but making it decentralized so as to not have any regulations on top of it, right? So that's why you can offer those tools to anyone in the world without worrying about the central bank, RBI, the government, etc. So that's what's DeFi. So yeah, so ultimately Brú Finance as a platform gives access to such investment opportunities from either from banks or from DeFi lenders, and eventually the farmer is supported with that loan. So the farmer can easily request for a loan against their crops for a time period of 3 to 6 months. That's what it is.
Yes. So why the name Brú Finance? Like, was it firstly only for coffee or something? Because
it was not actually. It was not actually. So this brew has nothing to do with that brew. It's even the spelling might look same, but it's an Iceland word, Icelandic word which means bridge. Now why it makes sense is because in the last 3 years we've been working with banks, which is called centralized finance. As you can understand, banks governed by regulations. Now, once we are bridging that centralized finance to decentralized finance, so that bridge is what Brú is, representing. So that's why the name Brú Finance. It's an Icelandic word.
Okay, so you are one of the co-founders of the company,
Yeah.
and who is the other person?
So we have 3 co-founders, 2 of them active, and the other person his name is Ashish, and he has a background in finance, and he has a generational background in farming as well. From his forefathers. So he understands the nitty-gritty of both sides, and I have a fintech and a blockchain background. That's how we work together.
Is there any particular place where you work, or it's like a global business?
Yeah, so we have started off in Maharashtra. We cover 1,400 warehouses at this moment in Maharashtra, entirety of Maharashtra. By the way, Maharashtra is India's largest warehousing capacity state. And we have currently helped more than 18,000 farmers in India at this moment. We have tokenized more than $600 million worth of commodities on the blockchain, as I said, all non-perishable crops as NFTs. And currently we are catering to the farmers in Maharashtra, but we are also onboarding more and more banks. So as we onboard more banks, we can open up warehouses or we can open up partnerships with other warehouses in other states of the country. Similarly, we are also looking to scale up beyond India, because for us it's all about building partnerships and getting those farmers on the network. So it can happen on any other state like Assam or West Bengal in India, or at the same time it can happen in Philippines. We just signed an MOU in Philippines to get access to a farmer network. Last month I was in Colombia. It has a very similar agricultural market. So we are looking at different markets where the agricultural market is similar, and we can target those farmers there as well, very easily.
So India, is there any particular crop like the farmers are mostly like taking the money for?
So we almost cater to around 80 unique crops, non-perishable crops, which get stored. It contains cotton bales, it contains, as I said, soybean, maize, wheat, rice, paddy, turmeric. All of these crops are there. If you visit any of the warehouses, you'll see that they are like huge warehouses keeping quintals and quintals and or metric tons of crops, and but largely it is those few crops that I said. These are the top ones.
Also Maharashtra is one of the finest producers of cotton.
It is cotton bales is also there. Turmeric, some places in Maharashtra. So I just went to Washim warehouse, which is a place in Maharashtra. The entire warehouse was filled with turmeric. You could smell it, you could see it.
Wow.
All bodies of that.
That's great. Yeah. And you were saying that farmers are taking a loan against their crops.
Yeah.
So how are you creating the impact on them? Are they listening to you? Because they are very ordinary people. So do they understand? Non-tech savvy.
Yeah.
Yes. Do they understand?
So when farmers, actually we also had this presumption that whether they would be able to work with an app or not. So what we did was we did first build an app, and then we also redesigned the entire system so that the same loan opportunity or the same process, loan opportunity is anyway coming from the bank. The same process can be facilitated with the help of the warehouses in charge as well. So anywhere crop you have to physically take to a warehouse. It cannot work from home, right? So the warehouse person can help the farmer because they have our systems installed. So the bank has our system installed, the warehouse has our system installed, the farmer has an access to an app, any third party has a system installed. So that's the entire network of products that we've built over the last 3 years. Everyone has access to it. Now the warehouse person can use his own system and help the farmer to apply for loan on his behalf, just with a couple of security features, more like a video and everything. Too much nitty-gritty there, but largely more security features to prevent any misuse by the warehouse in charge. But also in the last 7 to 8 months, we have been ourselves astonished to see how comfortable the farmers have started becoming in using the app. So it's a multilingual app available in English, Hindi, Marathi. So they are able to use it. It's a very one-click process. See the warehouse receipt, see your crop, click on it, say that I want loan, and that's it. That's done, and the information goes to the bank. So yeah, even though they have been very non-tech savvy, maybe some don't even have smartphones, or one smartphone in an entire family. But now they have started using our app, which we are very happy about.
So India is changing.
Yeah, India has been changing since years, because see,
Yes.
everywhere you see they are accustomed to using QR code, right? So I told you I was in outside India last month. I was in Colombia, again not a very developed country, right? I was in Saudi, I was in US, right? Not even every place in US has such a fintech kind of a network, right? But India is way ahead in that, right? So once everyone has access to those smartphones, farmers have also started having access to smartphones. I think solutions like ours is going to get multiplied in the future.
So this is purely based on trust. Any business is based on trust, okay? So if one day the farmer sees that the loan he has taken from his crop, but he is not seeing that in his app, so like it will be a very big issue for him. So like what he does after that.
So no, it's not at all based on just on trust, because I'll tell you why. It's because, see, banks are offering the loans, or tomorrow we would be offering the loans from the DeFi network. What happens is that the farmer just requests for a loan, and the bank details are provided there. So the bank remits the entire amount directly to the farmer's bank account. Till now, we have given around $6.5 million worth of loans to around a few thousand farmers. And what happens is that there has been zero default yet. So first of all, we trust the farmers a lot. They have never defaulted on a loan yet, at least in our experience with them. Plus, they trust us a lot because they are getting the loan while standing in the warehouse itself, and they trust the warehouse person a lot. So it's not just some startup or some company calling them up and saying that, hey, tomorrow, you can just apply and get a loan within 15 minutes, and they would, understand it to be a fraud or scam, because that happens, right? It's not like that. They are getting this information from a warehouse person whom they recognize. Maybe even their fathers used to store in the same warehouse, right? So that's how easily it is done, and it's very trustworthy system for the farmers as well as for us to trust the farmers.
And also for crops, I'd say that it may happen that there are mice, there are rats, things are getting rotten, because crops are very perishable goods and everything. So how are you maintaining that?
Right. So that part is something we don't have to take care of directly, because the entire produce in a warehouse is covered with insurance, and that insurance is handled by the warehouse itself. So they have an entire coverage, insurance coverage for all crops in the warehouse, and they deduct a storage charge for that from the farmers. We don't get directly involved with that, but we are also working on IoT solutions so that some frauds, physical frauds, not just problems with rats and moisture, etc., but some physical frauds can be prevented, which is something we are working on with IoT devices, etc., but still not live. We'll do that soon in future.
Oh, great. So the technology behind this is blockchain. So
right.
you are working on blockchain, is it?
Right.
So I'd like to ask you, like, what is your work day like? A day in your work, how is it like?
Sure. So it's pretty normal. We build products. We have already built a product, an entire network, suite of products. Every day, of course, even though it's blockchain, but every day some problem or other comes up, right? Plus, we are always looking to implement blockchain at a much better level, into our products, or even if not blockchain. Blockchain is just one part. The underlying architecture definitely very important. But every day, new and new things are happening in blockchain. It's a very fast-moving world, right? It is 11-12 years old. January 2009 is when the first transaction happened, Bitcoin, right? That is the first time we saw a real live blockchain implementation. Since then, 11-12 years, and blockchain has spanned across industries, use cases. Do you know every day the messages that you're receiving, entirety of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India is on blockchain now. Jio, Vodafone, BSNL all have their own blockchain, setups, deployments made, and you're receiving all your calls and messages via that blockchain. So see, again, your CBSE certificates are coming on blockchain now. It has started in the last 2 years. So everything, blockchain is really expanding and covering a lot of industries and domains. Now what happens is that in our daily life, we would want to make the solution better, not with just using blockchain, but with everything else. We want to bring WhatsApp banking, which is going to be very helpful for the farmers. Farmers are on WhatsApp, right? Everyone is on WhatsApp, right? Then we are going to try using other kinds of services like automated KYCs and helping banks underwrite the loans in a better way. So again, as a technology team, as a product team, that's what our day usually looks like. The entire teams work on making the product better.
So you are a team of how many members?
We are 30 people right now. 28.
30 people.
28, yeah.
28. Wow. So the app works on any native language or only in English?
Currently
right
in
now?
English, Hindi and Marathi, because Maharashtra was the first state we went into. But adding a language onto the app is like a 1 week work for us. So it can be done. When we go to another state, we'll add the language.
Another question would be like, how did you build the trust on farmers? Like,
Right.
if I'm a farmer, I have a certain warehouse.
Right.
Why should I go to you?
So you're not coming to us, you're actually still going to the same warehouse which is nearby to your warehouse, to your house, right?
Your house.
And it's a government warehouse. So most probably your generations before have been knowing that warehouse and even the people. Because the villagers are small, right? When I went to the area called 𝐴𝐻𝐴𝐻 and Hatta in Maharashtra, I could see that farmers are very familiar with everything around there. They know the warehouse in charge. They can even spend an entire day having tea with the warehouse in charge. That's the kind of familiar relationship that they have with them. So they are trusting them. So it becomes meaningful for us rather than just using our sales team to call the farmers up. We can actually ask the warehouse people to tell about a solution to the farmers. And even if the farmers don't know about a system, once they enter a warehouse and store, which is a partner warehouse for us, if they store the goods in the warehouse, they automatically get onboarded on a system. Why? Because those entire Maharashtra government warehousing system is API integrated with us. So once it is on our platform, we can directly offer loans to the farmers, and they are able to hear it from the warehouse person whom they trust. So that's how we built it.
So has the government, the ministers, have they been helpful to you?
The first ever loan that they have been helpful. The first ever loan that was done way back in 2019 end was on stage. A farmer took a loan, and it was in the presence of that was actually facilitated in the presence of Aditya Thackeray, right, in Maharashtra. So so
in
they have been very
also,
helpful.
like, we have seen that the political issues are going on.
Yeah, that's
somewhere.
fine. We definitely have faced issues regarding that in between as well. But even before anything like that happened, we were already there in the system, and now we are working directly with the State Warehousing Corporation. And same thing we'll be doing in any other state where we'll be approaching the State Warehousing Corporation, getting them on board.
Okay. So like, were there any investors in your like in the starting days?
No, we have been even in the starting days or till now, we have been largely bootstrapped.
Okay.
But a very good point here is that a very good support we received constantly, regularly since the last 2 years, is that there are a lot of marquee names, you name it, like the United Nations Development Program, the Government of India, IIM Ahmedabad, we are an IIM Ahmedabad case study as well, then University of Toronto, Google, Microsoft, Citibank, Cisco, all these good names. They also have they have some similar kind of initiatives or objectives, right, to help the farmers or to help the grassroots, create grassroots impact. And we have coincided with their objective and mission. So they have been happy to provide us with a lot of grants very regularly. In total, we have received around $175,000 in grants. So you see that is completely equity free, right? Equity free grants. So we didn't have to raise against equity till now. So entirety of the company still remains with us, and these grants have really helped us a lot, and they have come at very good intervals, which has helped us a lot.
So you three are the owner of the company, or are there any other investors who has the share?
No, that's it. Three of us.
Okay. So if we like to buy a share of your company, what is the process?
Yeah, you can. I mean, we are not doing any equity investments at this moment.
Okay.
But yeah, one good point is that
the thing is that once that Shark Tank India came on board,
that's why you won't see. So there was a time, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So there was a time when we were actually looking for equity investment. So Shark Tank is equity investment, right? You invest against equity from the judges, right? The sharks. In fact, Shark Tank season 1, we reached the semi-finals as well.
Oh wow!
In Mumbai. Okay, but we did not reach the on stage, right? On TV round. And the second time when it opened up, so Shark Tank season 2 is about to come up. So we did not apply this time. Why? Because largely we are not raising against equity, and going to Shark Tank would mean that we'll have to take against equity. So it's closed right now. We are not raising against equity. But one part is that with Brú Finance, we are about to have a token sale in next year, and we have already started attracting investments there, where you don't have to invest against equity, but you can buy tokens. It's just like, so any other company who has done a token sale, you would know in the past. So it's like you buy the tokens at a certain rate, and then the valuation is done accordingly. And next year we are going to do the token sale on the popular exchanges as well. So that's somewhere where people are getting in touch with us and are in a position to invest in us, but not against equity at this moment.
Okay, so cryptocurrencies, bitcoins, these things are
Yeah.
like the new terms, the new tech
Yeah.
which are like in the name. So what do you think about that in entrepreneurship and business?
Sure. So people many a times confuse between blockchain and cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was the first, possibly the first crypto that people heard about, and that's where they heard blockchain from. We don't want that to happen, okay? We want you to understand that these are very two different things. Cryptocurrency is an implementation of blockchain. And I'll give you an example. You know that crypto is in a very gray area in India at this moment, right? Though something happened in the last budget, they taxed crypto, but that is just one step that government has taken. It has not legalized or done any such thing about crypto, because they even don't understand crypto as a whole, right, as an industry. But on the other hand, talking about blockchain, the government has been very supportive about blockchain as a technology. Big conglomerates, Nestle, IBM, Microsoft, everyone has been using blockchain, and the government supports us. Why would they give a grant if they were against blockchain, right? But crypto is something that is in a very gray area, right? But again, India has come up with its own central bank digital currency. I'm sure pretty much everyone would have heard by now. Just 2 days back, RBI did its first pilot with CBDC, where they sold 250 crores worth of bonds, CBDC denominated bonds. So things are going well there, but still in a lot of gray area. So let's focus on blockchain more in India at this moment.
So like what will be your next place or next state where you like to work?
Right, so for us...
Can't it be West Bengal?
Right, for us, it can be West Bengal, Assam, anywhere. These are all places. I'm in direct touch with the State Warehousing Corporation in West Bengal. Similarly, we are in touch with Assam as well, in Telangana, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, multiple states. We are just waiting for... So we have almost onboarded India's largest private bank, and in the last stages of discussions at this moment. Once that happens, so a nationalized bank can help us cater to those customers. Until unless we have such a bank who is giving loans to farmers in West Bengal or Assam, there's no reason to bring them on board, right? It'll be a waste of opportunity. So the moment the bank comes on board, it will not take a lot of time to onboard these warehouses on the platform.
So is there any particular bank that we have talked to or spoken to in West
Yeah,
Bengal?
in India we have spoken to a lot of banks. But at this moment we are still in discussion stage, so I'm not taking names, but largely every large bank we have spoken with, and not a single bank has said that this is not a solution that they would be using or they are in need of, because everyone understands that yes, these are frauds out there, they need blockchain to solve those problems, and they're happy to come on the platform.
So you are also the one of the youngest recipients of Forbes 30 under 30 awards.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
Yes,
not, yeah,
of course.
people have received under 30 even at the age of 19, to be honest. But less people, of course. Yeah.
And so like, how does it feel? Like, it's even like a moment of pride for all of us. So how does it feel about that?
Yes, honestly, I've been following. So under 30 list, it turned I think 10 last year. So it has been there since over a decade. Okay, and I have been knowing under 30 list since about last 5, 6, 7 years at least. And I always followed people who came on the under 30 list, and in fact a YouTuber, right, 𝗪𝗏, right, and I used to watch his 𝗪𝗏. I used to watch his videos as well. He even mentioned on coming on Forbes that it was his dream also to come on Forbes, and it was my dream also always. I heard about it and I said that okay, yeah, this has been a dream always. So this year it finally happened. 2022 Asia is when I came on the list. 𝗪𝗏 also came on the list 2022 itself, Asia, in a different segment, multimedia entertainment, and so it was a really good moment. And it was, I remember it was 5 AM in the morning when the email came, and I'm an early riser, so I was there. I was already on my laptop or phone at that time, and it just came, and I was very happy. And since then things have definitely changed. A lot of opportunities start coming in which were not there, non-existent possibly earlier, and I believe accessing this Forbes under 30 network. So I was at the Forbes under 30 annual summit in Detroit last month. It happens annually. I think it was closed for COVID, but it again started, and it was a massive conference, and people are high caliber there, right? And I got, just spending 3 days there, I got access to an immense network, right? And that network will continue for me even beyond while I'm back in India. I'm still in touch with them. right? Even if they were not there or I was not in any of the conferences, they are still a part of a network. We are a part of a group, right? A Slack group, and I can access people, right? Even you know, a very interesting fact. I met Momina there at the festival because she's also an under 30, but she's from 2018. She's a senior, so you know, so different people from different walks of life. You get to meet them, and it's a different experience. Basically, it will help us as a business also, because the day we want to go into any of those markets, it will be easy for me to access a person who's already on the under 30 list as compared to before, when I would have to just search for opportunities there and try to build partnerships from scratch. So that's very helpful.
But in India, has this been recognized, or you still feel that things has to be like more recognized on this part?
Recognized as in what? What has been recognized?
Like you are doing this and you got that award and everything. Has this been recognized?
It has been recognized. I could feel the difference, right?
You can.
Yeah. Many people do recognize that. In fact, India has a separate list as well. So right, so I'm on the Asia list, but there's an India under 30 list as well. Shubman Gill and all were part of that list, I think, a couple of years back. So it's a different list. I think it's more competitive. I'm not sure, because India is in general more competitive. And people do recognize it, and you know, it helps open a few doors for you
then
when you try to
I must
reach
say
people.
that you have been very lucky on that part, because
I honestly
on
feel
on
that.
many fields things are not recognized in our country.
No, but
Of
it has
course.
started becoming. These days,
These
India has
days,
become
these days,
aware
it is
of a lot of
Of course, it
opportunities.
is becoming. And like, do you take breaks in between work?
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you love traveling?
I love traveling. In COVID, anyway, no one was traveling, right? So that was a huge block of time when you know, you were closed out inside houses. But now, once it's open, so you know, I have started traveling. Right? I spoke at 5 different conferences just last 1 month. Within 1 month. Earlier, all of this was on Zoom. It was pretty boring, right? And then again, I'm meeting you here today offline. Otherwise, we would have met on Google Meet again if it was 6 months back. Right, so I love traveling as well. Bit academic in nature. I first of all love writing and publishing. You know, from an early age I used to write. I published my books in my first year in college, and currently I am liking a lot to teach people, because blockchain is anyway new. I believe it's a privilege that I was able to come into the industry and the domain a bit early on. I understand the tech well, so I believe the onus is on me to at least teach it to other people. So I have been very lucky to teach to multiple segments of people. It has been students, working professionals, even faculty and PhDs. have taken faculty development programs across the world online. So that is a passion I really follow. So it does not matter however tired I am, I still have energy to take 2-3 hour lectures. So that's a passion.
So like, and many of your answers, you were like referring to being an author and being writing. So what are your writings, may you know?
Sure. So the first book that I published was on IT. Of course, that was in first year of my college with Scholastic Publishers. Then the second time I did was in 2020, which was with BPV Publications, which is Asia's largest IT publisher. It was on blockchain, so secure chains, security of blockchain, and cyber security, etc. And the current one, which is currently about to be published just next month, is on applications, blockchain applications in healthcare, and that has been published with ISTE Wiley. So Wiley Publications. So that's what I publish. I mean, it's mostly technical that I am into.
Yes, of course. So any notable papers you have, like in any like LCBR or IEEE transaction, anything like that?
Yeah. So I've published one. I presented and published one paper in IndiaCom IEEE. That was some time back. Similarly, across mobile computing, back then in my college, it was in I think in another journal. I'm forgetting the journal name. It has been years. And and other than that, this Wiley book is something that is notable there.
So do you think that these writings, journals, and being an author, this is like helping with that entrepreneurship that you're doing?
So my previous author, my co-author in my last book, his name was Mr. 𝐶𝐻𝑟, and he told me something when we were about to publish the book, and I was so happy that BPB had picked us up, to publish. He told me that, Abhishek, don't think of this as you'll be selling 1,000 or 1,000,000 copies. No, you're writing a technical textbook. It is not a Chetan Bhagat book that will sell at every nook and corner. But he said that consider this as a visiting card, right? Once you say that yes, you have a book under your belt and it is in the same domain you're working in, as an entrepreneur also, that becomes your visiting card, which he was very right. So that is something I felt. It has been very useful whenever people get to know that, okay, I'm in the same domain and I've also published a book in this domain, and the publisher is also good. It has a global coverage, all Amazons, India, US, everywhere it is available. They're happy to, talk further. They're happy to get into deals with. So that's how it is.
I also believe that because I feel that even if you are not here, the book or the paper,
It will always be there, right?
always
So,
be there.
yeah.
So I'm also working on something like
That's
that.
great. I mean, I think that is something that everyone should,
Yes.
do it in college, because you get a lot of time to do so.
Yes, but
later.
my domain is something else.
Okay,
of
but all
course.
the best.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so not extend this further, right? But is there any advice you'd like to give to the younger generation who is starting
Yes.
entrepreneurship?
So, especially as we are doing this in Kolkata, and one of the questions you had was that Bengalis are not very risk takers, which is very right. Yeah, I've seen this in my friends. I've seen this everywhere. Even I've seen it in my family. My father is also not a very risk taker. I'm not sure how he took the risk of allowing his child, to go for entrepreneurship. Right? He's also not.
Are
one.
you the only child?
Yeah, I'm the only child.
Oh,
So then also.
Then maybe then it could have been like it was like.
Maybe, but still, it was a lot for him. Now, if I think that because he's not himself a very big risk taker, he took a lot of risk by allowing me. So but he has always been that way. First, he wanted me to become a cricketer, right? And then because he has himself been in cricket, and then he wanted, when I said that, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, he was again, okay, let's do that.
But did he understand what entrepreneurship is?
Yeah, he did. He knew that there are risks. He knew that this may or may not work. I told him that, so I told him that 90-95% startups fail. So you know that I either would be in that 5% or I won't be in that 5%, right? The larger chances that I won't be, which is what happened. The first two startups I shut down. Currently this one I'm continuing, so I may be in that 5%, earlier I was not. So, but he understood the risk, but he understood that, okay, he understood that there's a price you have to pay to follow your dreams. So he was ready to pay that price first, and then I've been paying that price as well. There are ups and downs, but still at the end of the day you have energy to get up the next morning because you're working on a passion. Right? So again, coming back to the question, I would love to tell everyone who's listening to this podcast, and as you said that, Bengalis are not very risk takers, or anywhere, the entire IEEE network or globally, where whoever is listening to this podcast, I believe you are at a very good stage to take risks when you are in your college. Societies like IEEE, ACM, others, all of them give you the opportunities, and I've seen IEEE do so many activities. Of course, not all of them are focused on entrepreneurship, but some are. I've spoken at such areas before, so I know that IEEE has been doing a lot of work there. So if you have a chance, get in touch, get involved right from your first year, earlier if possible, right? And see that what you can do. Try it once. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Go back to a job. Going back to a job is easy. I know that, okay, if I have to shut down my startup, I would take maybe a week or 2 or 3 or 4 a month, but I will get into a job. But then again, starting up is not that easy. You'll have to think a lot before starting up. And as you go, further in your life, the responsibilities start cropping up. Earlier in my 3rd year of college, I didn't have the responsibility of anything on my mind other than the studies, which I said that, okay, I'll handle with an entrepreneurship role. But beyond that, I gradually had to start thinking about what I'm earning. What is the money that I'm going to invest in my own startup? I cannot run to my father every time. During this startup, before I started this startup, I was at Policy Bazaar, a unicorn. Good salary, good team, good opportunity, good future, because Policy Bazaar looks way better on CV sometimes than a failed startup maybe. But to leave that salary and opportunity and stability and go again for a startup at a stage when I was around my 20, I was at that time 25, I think. At that time, again going for this, when your family would start talking about marriage, you would have to start thinking about savings for your future, so many things. Why would you not do it before, when it is easier to start out? So it's my single advice is to do something entrepreneurial early in life. If it doesn't suit you, you'll get to know.
But let's say the person who is thinking of the entrepreneurship is not financially stable, then what's the step he's supposed to do?
Yeah, see,
like say he just has some of his own savings and he's thinking of entrepreneurship.
If that's a passion, it's worth doing, right? 3 Idiots, right? When Madhavan wanted to be a photographer, do you think his family was not very financially stable? You saw that, right?
Yes.
But he wanted to do it. And I can tell you, he would have been better off, he ultimately did it, right? He would be better off clicking photographs, wildlife photography, rather than, being an engineer in an organization earning maybe 1 lakh a month, INR, right? it's about, it's about what you can do with what you have. Many entrepreneurs, in fact, when I started the first startup, I don't think I invested more than 50-60,000 INR at that time in the startup. If there would have been less, instead of having a 37-member team, I would have had a 10-member team, a 5-member team. But still, people start out. People start from very, meager incomes as well, and then make it big. You know all the stories. Every day, every now and then, it gets published in newspaper and everywhere else. So it's a worth trying, I think.
Yes. As you referenced Three Idiots, there was a particular section where Madhavan and the other person failed, and the other person was first.
Yeah.
And the dialogue said that if my friend fails, I am sad. But if he is at the first, it is very envious.
Very painful.
Are your friends envious of what you are doing?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I have got so I'm not a very social person. I don't have 100 people strong group, going out every day with them socially, right? But I have a very restricted group of 5 people, 5 friends who have been friends since the first or second year of my college. They, honestly speaking, rather than being envious, every single one of them has supported me a lot in every stage of my life. I've been with them like during my college. Again, after college, I've been with them. Next week itself, I'm going to visit for about 10 days. I said I love traveling, so I'm going to one of their places in Assam. Try to do some work there as well as meet with a friend and everything. All of them have been very supportive, and every time something comes out, they're so happy. They tell it to their friends, and it just gives me more confidence to do more things. And and I wish them all the best. They wish me all the best. So this is a very harmonic relationship.
So if one day you go to them and ask for some money, will they give it to you?
Yeah, possibly once we start raising against equity, or maybe in the token sale they'll invest.
They will. Okay.
Yeah, let's hope for the best.
Then I hope it is.
Yeah, that day I'll get to know whether they are actually believing in my idea or not.
But
again, what?
Because college friends are like, if I'm we are having tea, the next day is like, send me 5 rupees.
But these 5 friends, that's why I said it's much better to have such good 5-6 friends rather than have 100 different friends who have nothing to do with you or are envious, because that negative energy is going to do more harm than good. But I think it's very good to have a good set of friends during college, because that's going to go for an entire life, and I can see that as well.
And are you married, single, or?
I'm currently unmarried.
Unmarried. Anyone on the list?
Yes, I've been with someone since the last 9 years, actually, since my college days.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she's in US. I met her when I was in US last month. I hope that soon we'll get married sometime in future, but let's see.
Oh, so
Two
she's
different
also
countries.
very supportive, I believe.
Yeah, she is.
About your
she is,
entrepreneurship and
yes,
everything.
she is. But still, she's waiting that how this entrepreneurship and marriage can coexist together
Of
when
course.
we are in two different countries.
Girls need time.
Yeah.
Of course.
You saw. I'm not sure how many of you saw the Shark Tank season 1 ad, where if you try to remember, or do watch it today once you after this podcast maybe. There was in the ad there was a segment where a lady she brought her father to meet with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend said that I'm an entrepreneur. So they were very fine on the face, but then the father said to the beti that koi aur nahi mila tha tujhe. So it's like that, did you not find anyone else?
Fine. What else do you do? That's the thing.
Yeah, what else, right?
Yes.
So you need to have a stable job, and I've seen people who have been entrepreneurs, but then during marriage they had to go to a stable job. So ups and downs are there, and that's what I think Shark Tank had portrayed in their ad as well. It's a very good ad. It's a very realistic ad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we can close and wrap it up for this session.
Sure.
The episode 3 of our podcast.
Yes.
And so it has been very, very good session. I never thought that 35 minutes, 40 minutes will pass at
so
least.
soon. Yeah.
It's so soon, because I have never done all these things.
Right. And I am very thankful to IEEE Banner as a whole, and to MSIT as well. Host the first offline podcast, so I'm so honored to have that, and I really wish all the best to everyone who's listening on the podcast, as well as you, the team, everyone. Thank you so much for bringing me here.
Yes, of course, thanks to you, and maybe someday also we'll have a grand team together, and we'll have everyone. So that especially Ramnik and Vamsi and everyone, and we can discuss and have a gala time there.
For sure. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.